and welcome to our Pathway to Success video series. My name is Georgina Housden. I'm an Associate Director here at Danos Group, and I lead the Compliance and Financial Crime desk in the Fintech space. Today I've got the wonderful Sara with me. If you could start by telling us a bit about your journey to date.
Okay, great. Well, thanks, great to be here. I'm now Chief Risk and Compliance Officer at IFX. Before that, I've worked in a few different compliance and risk roles in various parts of financial services. World first for a long time, again, e-money payment space, and then a little bit into asset management, and joined my current role about 18 months ago. And I'm responsible there for all second and third line functions for the group.
Brilliant. And so, how did you some people fall into their role, right, in compliance? I mean, was that sort of the case for you, or did you have more of a sort of structured career path for you from university?
No, absolutely. I fell into it. I think it was a complete accident. So A-levels, I did French, German, Spanish and physics. But I, against the wishes of my teachers, I didn't want to study modern languages at university. So I really wanted to do a science subject. So I chose to study geology at university, which was absolutely fantastic, loved it. Absolutely, it's going to be my career for life. Left university and did a graduate training program for a building products company. So I was moving around different parts of the company, so some with finance, some with estates, environmental management, and driving around all over the country to the various different sites. I was there for a year, and at the time my brother wasn't very well. He suffered from depression, so I chose to leave that job and take a few months off to spend some time with him during his recovery. And best decision I ever made. We had 3 months at home. We did loads of things, go to the beach, go to Torquay, fix cars. Some of my best memories are those 3 months of being fun employed.
Yes.
Because it was a deliberate decision to take that break. And then after that, I did a few different geotechnical engineering contracts, which again was great. Got to go and do your kind of London Underground safety course, and you get to go to some places that people don't normally go to. But for me, the money wasn't fantastic. But you do it because you love it. Sure. I remember there was one particular time I was trying to measure subsidence near the motorway around the M25, and to do that there was some equipment in the ground, and you had to go around and basically take the measurements. And this one day, this is the day that I quit, by the way, I went into this field, and the equipment is protected by these giant kind of concrete tubes, which are quite high, and you have to climb over the outside and then down the inside with all your equipment. And this day in particular, there was this really high concrete tube upright, surrounded 1.5 foot of cow pat. It's liquid. And it was really cold, and I'm not that tall, and I had to wade in, and I couldn't reach the top of the tube to pull myself up. So I had to do several kind of run-ups through this sea of cow poo to get over it. And got out, and then take off your overalls by the car. And I remember that moment freezing, thinking,
smelly.
Actually, smelly, freezing, and not making any money. So I remember sitting at home and just googling graduate jobs in Battersea, because that's where I lived, not expecting anything to come up. And out popped this job on the road next to where I was living at the time for this company called World First that I hadn't heard of. Wasn't interested in financial services, didn't know anything about foreign exchange and payments. But I thought, actually, it's on the road. I'll just stick my CV in and see what happens. Went for the interview, and they were very nice. It was in a news house in Battersea. And I thought, I'll just do this for 3 months, just for 3 months while I get my next real job. And basically I ended up staying there for like 13 years.
That was your real job.
That was my real job, but it took me quite a few years, I think, to admit that. So that was on the operations side, first of all. The company grew, expanded globally. We got some different licenses and different products, and there was an opportunity to do a project in compliance. And to be honest, up until that point, I wasn't particularly interested in compliance. But I thought, oh yeah, it sounds like an interesting project, I'll give it a go. I did this project, which was about false positives on a monitoring system that was built in-house, so not any of the wonderful vendors around, but yeah, it was built in-house. So I did this project and I thought, actually, this is really interesting. And then they said, well, do you there's a role in compliance if you want to stay in compliance? And I thought, oh yeah, okay, I'll try this out. So then I moved into compliance there, various different roles, company grew and grew.
What particular challenges have you faced in your career, and how did you really overcome those?
Well, I think there's always challenges and opportunities in life, and everyone, you get road bumps all the time and have to change your approach. I think for me, the biggest challenge looking at my whole career to date, because I still haven't decided what I want to be when I grow up. So I talked a bit earlier about taking some time off to spend with my brother who suffered from depression. So unfortunately, a few years later, he relapsed and he was suffering again, and that didn't have such a positive outcome. So he died in 2009. It's a long time ago, but it still feels like yesterday.
No, I bet.
And that time, I was at Well First at that time, and I mean, it was awful. It was absolutely awful. He's only a few years older than me. He actually knew a lot of people. We had very similar friendship groups. We did a lot together, so he knew a lot of the people that I worked with. And it's very, very different, I think, to lose someone young and a sibling as opposed to, a great-grandparent or something like that. And I've got to say, the company were fantastic, and all the people that worked there were really supportive.
You knew him, right?
I knew him. I was off for a couple of weeks. And I remember going back and just being really nervous because everybody knows, and you feel quite fragile, and you don't know if you want to talk about it or not. And what happens in those kind of things, especially he died by suicide, and people don't know what to say. They don't know whether to mention it or not mention it. They don't know whether to. There's all sorts of complications. So it is a difficult subject. So people tend to just avoid you because it's easier to kind of not say anything. I remember being super nervous about going back, and actually everybody was lovely. Some people, did kind of just say, sorry to hear about it, you okay? Some people just give you, a little squeeze on the shoulder, or I don't think I had to make a cup of tea for about 2 months. And actually,
those things really help.
They really help, and I think even just, it doesn't matter if you really know somebody or not, just expressing that, whatever you say. And whether they appreciate it at the time or not, because at the time you're so in it, but actually later you remember how that made you feel and that you were, really supported. And I remember being really overreacting, hugely overreacting about actually a washing up rota that they'd implemented at work. And the CEO called me in to his office, and he said, this is how long ago it was. He said, go, just take the afternoon off, take someone with you, get a DVD, go and watch a film, chill out. Because I'd worked there a while, he knew me, and he obviously understood that this is not how you normally are, and it's a function of what's going on in your life. And I can't remember what we went and watched, but went home for the afternoon, watched something, and small things like that. And then going back the next day, it was just better, and all those really those kind of things I think are really valuable. And that's not, there wasn't a policy or a procedure that said, in the case of this, send them home and watch film. And I think
human, isn't it?
It's being human, and actually at the time my husband was in the army and he had to go off straight away, so I was bless you. He wasn't there, and I think had I been working in a job that I didn't enjoy with people that maybe I didn't get on with, it would have been
really devastating.
It would have been awful.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an awful time anyway, but I think working with a team of people that you like, as well as that are good at their jobs, is
kind of feels it's like we always say it here. It's like you're part of some family in a way, isn't it? It's your like a second family, a work family, and I mean,
you spend a lot of time at work, right?
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time with those people, so I think working with people that inspire you is, an absolute treasure.
So, was there a pivotal moment in your career, do you think, that got you to where you are as a CCO today?
Yeah, I'd say it's probably actually leaving my first head of compliance role because that was a company I'd been at for a long time, and it depends on who you talk to. People say, oh, it looks really bad on your CV that you've been at the same place for a long time, blah, blah, blah. So I left and stayed in compliance and financial services, but switched to asset management, which is, very different to payments and e-money.
Absolutely.
So that was kind of the test. Mm-hmm. Can I actually do this? Am I actually any good at my job, or is it just, everyone's been nice to me for years? Mm-hmm. And I think for me, that was really, that was great. I went and did compliance somewhere else, and I can still do this. And I think that's right. I think regulation is regulation. Mm-hmm. As long as you understand it, you can apply the same principles across the board. So I went into asset management, very, very different, much, much smaller firm. But that was great as well, great learning experience there, different parts of financial services. Yeah, it was really good.
Great. And how did you get that role then? Because it's one of those things, right, especially sort of hearing about our buy side team, should I say, it's like they are looking for their competitors, right?
Yeah.
So how did you get that job?
It's because at Wellfirst we actually had a firm called Wellfirst Markets which had a MiFID license. So MiFID and EMIR, I'd done that before, but that was in my CV, and that applied, and CAS rules.
Excellent.
Which everybody always laughs about because my name obviously, but those, I'd done those things.
So why did you make that decision to go back into payments?
So I took another job between the move back to payments. I wanted a bit more of a challenge, and I took a job at a trade depository in London, so I started commuting back to London again, which again, very, very different part of financial services, and then I'd been there nearly a year, and somebody I know rang me and said, would you ever consider moving back into a payments company? And I said, absolutely not. No way. And they said, oh, well, you should, I think this company is actually really good. No. I said, okay, I'll have a look. So I thought, oh, well, I can, I'd go for an interview. You're not committing to anything at that point, are you? And basically I went for the interview, and then really, really wanted the job. I just, and that was that.
That was that.
Yeah,
and here we are today. Well, thank you very much for being part of our Pathway to Success series here today. And I hope to see you very soon.
Thank you.